everybody, this is going to be a really fun video. I had a request from my friend Joseph Cohen Mason to talk a little bit about television on a video, so I am going to do that. A lot of the shows that other people like, I do not watch because they have they're too dark and too scary and I don't like that kind of thing, or they're a little too R-rated. And it's one thing for me to watch a movie for 2 hours, but to spend weeks and years of my life with these people, I just sometimes can't do it. It just depends. But for the most part, I try to keep my television at a PG-13 kind of level whenever possible. So a lot of the shows that a lot of other people like, I'm not as into, but I know they're really well made, and so that's awesome if you like them. I wanted to talk to you today about my favorite television show. If I were to pick one of all time, is The Simpsons. And I know that a lot of people feel like it should have ended around season 7, but I'm still watching it. I still watch it every week, and I still feel like a lot of the people who say that probably aren't watching, and so it's still actually pretty good and very visually inventive. And I think it's just because I love animation so much, and they have been doing really creative things in the last couple of seasons, like the couch gags. They had Guillermo del Toro do one, which was awesome, and so there's just been they had Studio Ghibli do one, which was really cool. And so it may not be as sharp comedically as maybe it once was, but there's still I think something that it entertains me. I still like it. And so I just love the show because I watched it almost my whole life. It's just kind of almost a comfort level at this point. I've always just sort of had it in my life, and it'll be weird once it goes away. And I'm so used to it. And my brother and I growing up, we had very, very, very little in common. And one of the only things that we both liked was The Simpsons. And so it's kind of unusual, I would say, in the Mormon world to love The Simpsons, which is funny because I don't think there's really anything that bad in it. I mean, it's certainly PG-13, and so I don't quite get why it has this kind of impression. It's certainly a lot more thoughtful and a lot cleaner than, say, a South Park or a Family Guy, I think. And my mom allowed it because we were spending time together and because it was pretty clever and funny and would make us think about a lot of social issues and a lot of politics and different things like that. So I just love it. It's just brought a lot of joy into my life. And so I thought I would share with you guys today my favorite Simpsons episodes. You can download what's called the FX Now app on your phone, and with that app it's free, and you can watch every episode of The Simpsons ever for free, which is so amazing. You do have to watch a lot of ads, which is annoying, but I would highly recommend it. And DVDs are the best TV on DVD that you can buy. They really, really, really are. And they have audio commentary for every single episode, not just a couple, like a lot of shows, every episode. And so you get to hear all about both the story idea but also the artistry and the animators and everything, and it is wonderful. So I highly, highly recommend getting the Simpsons TV on DVD box sets. Let's go with my little list here. And I'd definitely be curious for your favorites, so please put in the comment section below. Let me know. These are just mine. I have a top 13, and I thought just for fun, I would go with one from just last season because I still think it's like I said, I still think it's a good show. And last season they had an episode called Brick Like Me, which was a Lego episode. And in the episode, Homer is playing with Lisa. I love Homer Lisa episodes. Lisa is one of my favorite characters ever in the history of everything. I love Lisa so much. And I love Homer Lisa episodes. Homer Lisa episodes and then Lisa Bart episodes are probably my favorite. And I think Yardley Smith is so great as Lisa. There's such a warmth. She's still a child, but she's also so misunderstood, and she's just a great layered character. And so in this episode, her and Homer are actually playing together. They're playing Legos. And he actually gets transferred into this sort of alternate dimension of being a Lego. And it's so creative and it's so beautiful to look at. And I thought it was sweet and had this sort of tender side to it. Number 12 on my list, on my countdown, is called Bart the Mother. And this is season 10, episode 3. And this episode is perhaps most well known because it is the final appearance of Troy McClure on the show, which is super sad. The death of Phil Hartman, the tragic death of Phil Hartman, was such a loss to the Simpsons. His characters and everything that he gave, and just such a lost period. It was just such a talent, and it's so sad. But it's his last appearance. It's Phil Hartman's last appearance on the show, I believe, and it's a hilarious last appearance. It's a film strip about taking care of a bird that Bart finds. He has disappointed his mother by going and spending time with Nelson. Bart kills this bird, and Marge is horrified, and so he agrees to take care of the eggs of the bird to kind of make it up to his mom. And it's just a very sweet, very funny episode, great writing, and one of the best closing lines in any episode ever. So number 11 I have is called Bart on the Road. This is one of just the consistently funniest episodes that they ever did. This is season 7, episode 20. And in this episode, Bart goes to work with Patty and Selma, and he makes a fake ID, and he ends up going on this road trip with Milhouse, Martin, and Nelson. And it's just so funny, playing off of all the road trip cliches. It has some nice Lisa Bart moments, and just some great jokes, like he has an Al Gore doll, and he pulls the string, kind of like Woody, and it says, "You are hearing me talk." And I don't know, you have to see it. It's my 10th favorite Simpsons episode is called When Flanders Failed, and this is season 3, episode 3. And this is another episode that has a ton of heart. It's Homer is just getting more and more aggravated by Flanders, and Flanders decides to open his Leftiporium. And so Homer makes a wish on the wishbone that it will fail. And it just, everything starts going wrong, and Homer starts feeling more guilty and more guilty and more guilty. And it's just a lovely, lovely episode. Very funny, and also a lot of heart. Number 9, my 9th favorite Simpsons episode, is Bart Gets an F. This is from season 2, episode 1. So it's the season 2 premiere. So this was a huge episode, and I love it. It's definitely one of the most heartfelt episodes ever on the show, where Bart is not trying at school. He doesn't care. He can't pay attention, and he is told that he's going to have to repeat the 4th grade. And there's this great snow day sequence that's gorgeous, and he's so tempted, but no, he stays and he studies and he tries as hard as he can, and he still fails. And the look on his face and the expression is just so devastating, and it's just a great moment on the show. Okay, number 8, I have the Cartridge Family. This is from season 9, episode 5. And I'm a Republican. I'm pretty hardcore Republican, and so I found this episode really, really, really funny, of kind of poking fun at both sides of the gun control debate. Marge asks Homer to get a security system, and they're really, really expensive, so instead he decides to buy a gun. And it's just leads to a lot of very funny jokes, and also like pushing Marge to her sort of limit, which was really, really interesting to see. So 7, I have the Treehouse of Horror number 5. And this is season 6, episode 5. Honestly, I love the Treehouse of Horror for the artistry. But since I'm not a big horror movie fan, a lot of times I haven't seen, well, 99% of the time, I haven't seen the movie that they're poking fun at, and so I don't really get a lot of the jokes. But in this case, with this Treehouse of Horror, I had seen the movie. I had seen The Shining. It's the one horror movie, like real horror movie, that I actually kind of like and think is interesting. And so this one is my favorite of all the Treehouse of Horror. I think it's so funny. Homer and Marge go to this inn, and he like almost immediately starts going crazy, and it's called The Shinning, not The Shining. It's The Shinning, and he's written all over the walls, "No pizza, no beer, make Homer." And so it's very funny. There's also a really funny section of that episode with these killer dolphins, like the nicest animal in the world. They have these killer dolphins, which I thought was really brilliant. Number 6 is The Secret War of Lisa Simpsons. Season 8, episode 25. And this is an episode where you get a lot of my favorite things. You get a great Bart and Lisa moments, and you get some really nice Marge and Bart moments. And basically, Bart is sent to military school because he is so bad. Lisa goes and she sees it, and she is like, I want to do this. She actually wants to go to military school because it's such a great education. And she's the only girl there. And so she has to really prove herself to all these boys. And it's a great vocal performance by Yardley Smith, one of her best, and I love that episode. 5, I have Homer the Great from season 6, episode 12. And this is an episode where Homer ends up joining kind of a Freemason type group, and it has one of the best of the Simpsons songs. The Simpsons music is, I think, underrated. They have some great writing from Alf Clausen, and of course Danny Elfman did the theme. In this one, it turns out this group called the Stonecutters is kind of controlling everything. And it's this great episode about group dynamics and religion and just poking fun at a lot of things. Scientology is kind of made fun of, power and rule, and just all these different things. Homer basically becomes like this god to the Stonecutters. And of course, that is very entertaining to watch. So number 4 in my countdown is Lisa Gets an A. And this is season 10, episode 7. This is an episode that is very Lisa-centric, so of course I love it. And it is a great vocal performance from Yardley Smith. And basically, Lisa ends up being sick, and so she stays at home, and she gets distracted by a video game. And so for once, when she comes back to school, she's not prepared for the test, and she cheats. And so she has this moral dilemma of what she's going to do about this cheating. And it's just great. It's so... Number 3 on my list is Marge versus the Monorail. This is season 4, episode 12. And this episode is so great because it has the best of the Simpsons songs, where Phil Hartman voices a Harold Hill, Music Man kind of character who comes in and convinces the whole town to build a monorail instead of fixing the roads. And it's so funny and such a great sequence. And you get Leonard Nimoy in that episode, which is doing the narration, which is awesome. And it has great moments. If you love whole town episodes of The Simpsons, then this is the best of the whole town episodes, I think, is Marge versus the Monorail. Number 2 in my countdown is King Sized Homer. It is from season 7, episode 7. And this episode is a great episode about work, which is one of my favorite things to talk about, think about, watch. I love movies about work. I love shows about work. This is why this ends up being number 2, because Homer is so miserable at his job, he will do anything to get out of going to work. And so he decides to gain weight so that he can get on workman's comp and be able to work from home. And as somebody who was also miserable in my job and my dream was to work from home. And I really just have always really related to this episode, and I think it is very, very funny. It also has a lot of jabs at the diet industry and our obsession with losing weight and, like I said, and dieting and fitness in our culture. So my favorite, drumroll, Simpsons episode is called Homer's Enemy, 8, episode 23. And this is maybe a controversial choice as my favorite choice. Some people don't like it because it's a very, very meta episode. It's basically like what all of us would think if we met Homer, and he would make us all insane. And so that's what makes it funny to me, because this guy, Frank Grimes, who is this sort of typical hero, like there's sort of a 2020 like thing at the beginning, and he's had to work for everything, and he lives below one bowling alley and above another bowling alley, and he had his PhD he gets it in the mail, of course, and like a hawk comes down and tries to take it away, and it's so funny. And so he meets Homer, and he hates Homer. And he thinks Homer is lazy. He thinks Homer is a buffoon. All things that are completely true, but it's just funny to have someone actually saying it to me. And but for me, it's the episode that makes me laugh the hardest, because it's probably the one I can relate to the most. The animation is great. It also has some pokes at like sort of TV news and journalism, and also some definite work-related jokes of different things that we do to employ to motivate people. Is very funny. There's a work contest that is one of my favorite moments ever on the show, when Homer beats the kids, and Frank Grimes is so frustrated. He's like, "This contest was for children," and Carl or Lenny says, "Yeah," and Homer blew their brains out. That's just so funny to me. Yeah, it's my favorite Simpsons episode, and I've seen, I think, close to 600. I think they're at like 550, which is crazy. And I love all of these, and they're ones that I could watch again and again and again and just laugh and laugh and laugh. And so let me know what season is your favorite. I'd be really curious, and also what episodes are your favorite. And for me, probably my favorite season is probably season 7. It's the season with King Size Homer, and it's hilarious. So I'd be very, very curious what your favorites are, and please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later.